This is the game that everyone came to see. And as T.O. would say, get your popcorn ready, because it's going to be a show. Top-ranked, Plattsburgh, defending national champion, unbeaten in 34 consecutive contests. And the last team that handed the Cardinals a loss way back in the 2006 NCAA title game, the second-ranked Middlebury Panthers, fresh off a season-opening 3-1 victory against Elmira last night. And it will be Plattsburgh and Middlebury. 3 times a year ago, the Cardinals came out on top. The year before, it was the Panthers getting the best of the matchup. Now they are in the position of the hunted, and Plattsburgh tries to preserve its unbeaten streak and stretch it to 35. This will be one heck of a night of Division III women's hockey. Good evening, everyone. USCHO Game of the Week. Final game of our sort of Division III opening season salvo. 5 games featuring a number of the top 10 teams in the country, and this is the main course, if you will. Number 1 versus number 2. Plattsburgh in the Road Reds. They will start. Danielle Beatty, the outstanding junior out of Brooklyn, Ontario. She will have Ainsley Bryant and Shara Smith on the blue line in front of her. Up front, Lori Bowler, Claire O'Connor, and assistant captain Lindsey Brown. At the other end, one of the big stories of tonight's game, Bill Manigo talked to him before the game. He said, you know what? I need to find out something about my goaltenders early. So Lonnie Wright is not going to get the nod. Lexi Bloom, 5'5" freshman from Highland Park, Illinois, makes her collegiate debut in the Maelstrom against the number 1 team in the country. She will have Tanya Kenny, Heidi Woodworth on defense, along with Randy Dumont and that back 3, and then that dynamic duo we saw last night, Anne-Marie Solino, Anna McNally paired up front. Those two producing 3 goals and 5 points in their season-opening win. Underway here. Tanya Kenny with the game's first shot attempt did not go through against Ainsley Bryant. Middlebury does get the first shot now as Solino rolls one in. And that is promptly covered up by Danielle Beatty. Mentioned that Beatty, the junior out of Ontario. Plays a little bit different style. Very calm. I mentioned bigger goaltender. Not a lot of motion. Just kind of gets the job done. And, of course, is trying to fill the mighty skates of Bree Doyle, as you talked about yesterday. 50 wins in 58 appearances. We got a game's first penalty. Going to go to the Cardinals as McNally was tripped up. And so Middlebury's power play, which didn't find much headway against Elmira's penalty kill last night, will get an early opportunity just 35 seconds off the clock. The faceoff will be to the right of Beatty. And Danielle Blanchard, the multi-talented junior forward. Actually, this is a story of, in the junior class, as good as you'll find. Blanchard 14 in red, Solino 15 in white. Up top, Tanya Kenny. Kenny on the swing. Andrea Bono down low. Centering pass thrown to the front, tipped toward Beatty, cleared to the point, not out. Big drive through traffic, didn't go through. Players down in front as Kenny puts it into the circle. Taken by Shara Smith. Smith on the bank, had Blanchard ahead of the play, but couldn't quite connect on the long lead pass. Lexi Bloom gets her first touch, playing it up the wall, trying to get help from Kenny. Kenny frees it off the boards to center with 1:25 to go on the power play. Bono back in her own end. A rink wide to Kenny. Lofts it on ahead. And offsides is going to stall Ashley Barrows as she try to come over the line. We'll get the face-off back in neutral ice. So 1:21 off the clock. And Julie Devereaux, who you'll hear from in the first intermission. Julie Devereaux in the penalty box for another 1:14. Dumped all the way down. Solino now on this power play for the first time, along with McNally. You mentioned in the 2-3 system, you don't have a center and 2 wings. There's 3 back, and what you're really looking for is a pair of players up front. And look at Middlebury's history. They have had a lot. Certainly we've had one of the historic pairs on our program as McNally drags it through a defender. McNally getting in tight. Wrist shot didn't go through. It's pinballing outside the crease, and Beatty calmly covers it up before any shot can be taken. McNally showing that she's a slippery freshman out of Minnesota, St. Paul to be exact. Did a lot of that last night, a lot of dangles and toe drags, and really almost seemed like she got faster the tighter the quarters became. We talked about some of the historic pairs Middlebury has had. Sylvia Ryan and Michelle LeVay have both been on this program. They formed dynamic duo for 3 years. for Bill Manigo back in the late 90s and early 21st century. And if any returns from last night are any occasion, McNally and Salino an opportunity to potentially join that party. Of course, Salino was part of a great duo with Emily Keyson just a couple of years ago. Salino up top now. Karen Levin right back Salino. 23 seconds on the power play. Curling to the high slot. Now near side. Wrist shot through traffic. Pinball's just wide of the near post as Randy Dumont had gone to the front. Salino back on the Karen. Recollecting outside the circle. Now near side it comes. Molly Vitt back Salino. Fakes the shot. Doesn't pull the trigger. Now Levin will. It's blocked out of the zone. And Lori Bowler is away shorthanded. Lori Bowler behind the defense. Moving in all alone against Lexi Bloom. Bowler to the backhand. Bloom the poke check. And did enough to bother the talented sophomore for Plattsburgh. No shot taken. Now a long distance offering is floated in with Bowler still trapped off sides. We're back to 5 apiece in terms of manpower. But Lexi Bloom's first look as a collegiate goaltender, that's not how you draw one up. Lori Bowler, she of 22 goals a year ago, steaming down on you on a shorthanded breakaway. But Bloom, going to the poke check page in the playbook, did enough to prevent Bowler from taking the shot. And as it's sent all the way down by the Panthers, icing will be the call. So some early action in the beginning of this one. And we'll bring the face-off back to the left of Lexi Bloom. It took a moment to reposition the net on its pegs. This is the same tact that Bill Manigo used a year ago. Remember Lonnie Wright, her freshman season, her collegiate debut on the road at Plattsburgh. Backhand shot, Bloom the quick save. So Bloom is on the board with 2 stops early. And even though Wright lost that game, gave up 4 goals in the process, really kind of passed the test with shining colors. Middlebury was in that game a lot longer than they probably deserved to be because of the heroics of Wright, especially in that first period. Bloom now with a poke check is behind the net. Kayla McDougal trying to set up shop. Tucks it to the front. Rolled in on Bloom. A little bit out of position. And it's jammed off the side of the net. It stays on the outside. So we get the stoppage with 3:42 gone in the first period. So as Bill Manigo was telling me up here in the press box, he said, look, it's early in the season. I need to know. I love to win the game. I certainly don't feel like I'm not giving us a chance to do that. But it's more important that I find out of what Lexi Bloom can give me than it is necessarily, getting Lanning Wright another look at Plattsburgh, because he knows what Wright can give him. Off the draw. 104 the Panthers behind her own net. Far side it goes Vitt. Vitt on the headman, trying to spring Barrows through center. That was denied. Vitt back on it. This time gains the red line herself, but then flops the puck into the penalty box. So we get the stoppage with 16:07 on the first period clock. And at the other end, Kevin Will's approach, it's Danielle Beatty's job. She's the junior. She's earned that right. She's played well in the early going until she shows she's incapable of being the full-time starter. He's quite content to let her be almost the full-time number 1, just as Bree Doyle was the last 2 seasons. Sarah Sampson back down behind her own net. Steph Moon takes it away. Moon, the freshman, on the far side. Up the boards. Batted down by Barrows. She was trapped offside, so free clear for Plattsburgh, and they get it just beyond the red line. Taken back by Ashley Barrows, and here she is on right wing, supported by Karen Levin. Levin trying to tuck it into the slot. A rolling puck drifts free to the far side. Levin finally gains possession, leaves it up the boards, but her teammates were trying to change. And so away goes Brittany Mead. Mead 1-on-3, gets through one defender, shoots one just wide. Good effort by Mead 1-on-3, but couldn't find the mark on the shot offering. And so behind the net now, Karen Levin slapping it far side. Blanchard takes there. Skate to stick transfer was foiled. Dumont takes over. Lofts on ahead. Gathered by Salino, but not with much momentum. Salino puts it into space. A lot of Middlebury players climbing over the boards while we play on 5-a-side. Blanchard trying to accelerate to attack speed on the left wing. Bodied up hard by Tanya Kenny. Finally dispossessed by Heidi Woodworth. And the Princeton native slings it around to Dumont. Dumont up left wing now. McNally laying it into space, hoping to hit Salino. Salino being shadowed by her opposite superstar, Blanchard. And she's at the end of her shift, so she trudges off to the bench as Angeli Bryant contests with McNally behind the net. Blanchard comes down low to help, banks it off the wall, stole it. Here's Dumont, big drive. Nice blocker save by Beatty as she took it up high. Give and go play Bennett to McNally, who's still out there even though Salino has departed. McNally continuing to press the issue on the far side. Down low it goes. And behind the net, Blanchard chips it around. Shea Bywater got a couple of assists in setting up Blanchard yesterday in the 2-0 win over Williams. Banks it on ahead, taken back by Dumont. Dumont far side, looking for a change, deposits the puck in the corner and climbs off the ice. Ainsley Bryan being met by Jessica Bennett on the forecheck down low. Stephanie Moberg trying to clear. Woodworth blasts away instead from the point. That goes well wide. Kicked out by Bowler. Bowler and Margaret McDonald, the two number 22s, going after it. McDonald on left wing, slides it all the way down. There's no icing here, so Devereaux is going to have to pick up 13:50 on the first period clock. Forecheck applied by the speedy Erica Nakamura. Flopped on ahead by Lindsey Brown. Gloved down by McDonald. And the senior defenseman and captain pushes deep to the zone. Molly Vitt underneath Ainsley Bryan, wheels to the goal line. Slings it up top to McDonald. Pushes far side. Kenny with a drive, looking for the tip from Nakamura. Didn't get it, and the puck whistles wide. Margie Billings crashed hard into the wall by Lindsey Brown. There's going to be a penalty to the Cardinals and a fairly clear infraction for contact to the head there. And so the second power play for Middlebury will come out here, 13:21 on the first period clock, still looking for the game's first goal. Dumont against Blanchard on the draw. Blanchard wins it cleanly, fired up to the blue line. Salino settles down a bouncing puck. Salino curling left wing side into the circle, winds, fires, and it's blocked nicely by a sliding Sheriff Smith. Smith gets back to her feet, cannons it all the way down, and out of the net comes Bloom. Wanted to play it, but now we'll let Karen Levin do the honors. As Levin, the senior, who had 27 points a year ago from her back position, starts the break on the right wing side. Blanchard shadowing, stride and a half behind. Moberg trying to come up with a turnover in neutral ice. Broke up the momentum of Levin. Oh, Kate Fairfield actually took a stick in the mask as she was standing on the bench area. And Moberg and Levin got together looking for the puck. Here comes Salino, cruising past Blanchard. Salino knifing over the line. Dumont stays on side. Salino drawing a lot of attention here with 1:15 to go on the Brown minor. Pushed up the far side wall. Nora Bergman sends it back down low. Here's Julia Ireland transferring to the forehand, looking to make a play as she slides back for Bergman. Levin and Kenny are manning the perimeter, and Levin handles now along the blue line. Far side, Bergman, right back Levin. Return pass once again, Bergman from the angle, thrown in front. Dumont trying to gather, couldn't get it away cleanly. It rolls up the low slot, pushed ahead by Kara Bueller and out to center. Andrea Bono with a quick turnaround. And the errant headman pass becomes icing against the Panthers with 40 seconds to go on their power play and 12:01 showing in the first period. Off the draw, Middlebury lofts it on to center. Ashley Barrows took a moment to gather. Barrows on the left wing side, but that time it's going to be offsides on the Panthers, so slow sledding on the power play once again, as it was last night when Elmira did an excellent job on the 4-on-5. Plattsburgh doing the same early here. And in fact, the best chance on Middlebury's power plays has been Lori Bowler's breakaway going the other way. Off the draw, Devereaux gets another clear. Back down behind the net, Lexi Bloom, the freshman, making her collegiate debut one night after Lonnie Wright took care of the season opener for Bill Mandigo's Panthers. Tanya Kenny, a little bit unsure of herself behind the net, monitored closely by Amber Ellis. Near side it comes. Nora Bergman slips one check, trying to go rink wide, picked off by Ellis, and we're back to 5-a-side as Lindsey Brown heads out of the bench and heads out of the box and strolls toward the bench. We'll get the stoppage. Bit of a patient beginning. Teams feeling each other out. Best scoring chance, the Bowler breakaway. 3 shots for the Panthers, 2 for the Cardinals. Off the draw, Sheriff Smith behind her own net. Wheels away from the check of Jess Bennett. Right wing side, hoping for Ellis. Canceled out there. And they fight 3 aside in that corner. Bennett had a touch. Smith banks it on ahead. Squirts away from Tara Khan, comes to the near side corner. dug free finally by 13 in red, Megan DiGiulio, and the talented freshman cruises into the zone. Stayed onside barely. Middlebury faithful didn't think so. The Panthers take back anyway, and they get the clear on the diagonal, sending it the distance. Icing waved off here, so Kahn will have to come back and pick up behind her own net. Near side it comes to Julio. Lofting on ahead, telegraphed it. Dumont steps up in the lane and steals it. And here's Salino now. Salino, nice toe drag, gets underneath one defender, but Kahn, the second player back, disrupts the Middlebury junior star. And it's McNally now starting the cycle in the corner. Pass up top to Kenny. Swung near side, Heidi Woodworth. Woodworth with a screen, blasted away, but missed the target. And the lively ricochet will take the puck all the way back down to the neutral zone, midway point of this first period. Contest is over by the penalty box now. Finally fished free by McNally. Diagonals back for Woodworth. Woodworth sets foot in the offensive half and lobs deep as her team changes away from the play. Molly Vitt just on. Gets a touch to it in the corner. Contesting with a stalwart senior captain Devereaux. 2-on-2 as the battle is joined by Barros. And it looks like Steph Moon. And it's Moon who escapes the fray with possession. Through center comes Moon trying to force her way ahead. Brittany Mead trying to tuck it inside two defenders, but lost the handle. Picks up in the near corner, does Mead. Bodied off by Tanya Kenny. And now it's Karen Levin once again for the Panthers. Lead pass intercepted at center. Now Blanchard. Nice poke check by Kenny to break her up at the point of attack. Blanchard still trapped off sides as the puck comes back in by the left of Lexi Bloom. Barros finds the outlet in Kenny. Her headman broken up by the agile Steph Moberg. Moberg takes a moment to gather, pushes over the stripe, fired right back out. A little bit of disjointed play along the Middlebury blue line as Moberg gets back to it and lofts a wrist shot wide. Moberg back on it, wrap around attempt, trying to stuff it home. Bloom shuts down the pipe in the nick of time as it comes out to Sarah Sampson at the point. Intercepted now by Levin. She has Nakamura with her. Levin going in between Sampson and Moberg. Took Sampson's stick out of her hand. Nakamura gets to it in the corner. He's trying to start a cycle. Blanchard stepped right in between that, broke it up and cleared it. And far side now. It's fired back in. A long distance shot up high. Beatty will cradle it and hold on for the draw with 8:15 to go in this first period. And Plattsburgh and Middlebury still knotted at 0-0. Off the draw, quick release, tipped, hits the high edge of the glass but stays in play. Bryan wrestled hard by Nakamura. Puck rolls free in the high slot, goosed on ahead by Lori Bowler, and Brown is chasing it, as is Kristen Wilson, but it crosses the end line first, so icing will be the call. Face off back by Danielle Beatty. Beatty, the junior, won 4 of the 5 games thus far. Plattsburgh 32 wins and just 2 draws. As Salino off the draw, big drive, saved by Beatty. 32 wins and 2 draws in their 34-game unbeaten streak. Which earlier this year, Wisconsin made it as far as 32 with their unbeaten streak before it was eventually stopped by St. Cloud State. And penalties here. Call is made for holding. And I think this one's going to go the way of the home team as Heidi Woodworth skates over to the sin bin, and she'll sit for 2. We'll see the Plattsburgh power play for the first time today. Came into the weekend at a cool 38%, although against lesser opposition. And they'll get their first look here, 5-on-4. Blanchard, Bywater, Ellis up front, Devereaux and Moberg manning the points. McNally, Salino, Kenny, and Dumont will start on the PK. Middlebury trying to extend that zone. Steal by Salino, shorthanded, gets around one defender. Salino on the backhand save is made. Rebound, they score! Anna McNally following up Salino, and it's a shorthanded goal for the Panthers, 1-0. A broken record weekend here at the Panther Cardinal Classic, but Salino and McNally have been on the same wavelength seemingly since the drop of the puck, and it continues. McNally had the goal and an assist last night. Talking to Coach Manigo, he thought she could have had 3 or 4 last night, and she follows up here on the shorthand, and it as usual, gives Salino a ton of credit. You saw the stick handling wizardry as she stole the breakout, dragged it through a defender, actually used her skate to keep possession of the puck, got a good, decent backhander away, not a lot on it, but enough that Beattie couldn't control it, and McNally was there to power home the rebound. So McNally, her second from Salino at 12:32 of the first, and Middlebury staked to a 1-0 lead courtesy of a shorthanded goal. And so this game between the Panthers and the Cardinals starts in a fashion reminiscent to the last time these two teams played in this arena in this event, back in the 2006 Middlebury tournament, where a host of shorthanded tallies was put up by both teams, and a Middlebury win that day 4-2. And right here, it's McNally from Salino. Middlebury is away with a 1-0 lead. Karen Levin slapping it deep. Beattie watches it go behind. There's still 55 seconds of time on the penalty to Heidi Woodworth. And through center, the lob pass from Claire O'Connor finds Ainsley Bryan. Bryan has a big shot. She tees it up, but misses the near post. Salino hacks it to the blue line and just out as Shara Smith will have to reset from center. Trying to go rink wide. Bowler was actually headed off on a change, not expecting the pass. And the puck is dumped in behind the net of Lexi Bloom. Far side, Bywater leaves behind for Ellis. Ellis has her pocket picked by Karen Levin, and Levin throws past Moberg at the point and all the way down. Devereaux back to collect. Circles behind the net. Salino, one step behind. She'll peel off, head to the bench as Barrows comes in hard on the forecheck. Ellis maintains possession for the Cardinals. Pressure applied by our opposite, number 19, Nakamura. The lead passes on for Blanchard. Blanchard always dangerous, using that to reach. Blanchard then crashes hard into Dumont. No harm, no foul. We play on. Bywater trying to gain an advantage. She goes down. Dumont, though, loses the handle. In front, Blanchard, one-timer, and Lexi Bloom comes across to make the save. So at one end, Salino is the catalyst for a Middlebury goal. We see Blanchard blasting away for the first time there, and Bloom able to shut down the Plattsburgh Star on her first attempt. Still 1-0 Panthers here, 5:20 to go in the opening period of play. Gloves up high in the neutral zone. Things becoming quite physical, as you'd expect. An intense rivalry has emerged. Middlebury again. There's 6 skaters on the ice because the player coming over the board fell. But the Panthers fortunate to get away with that one, and DiGiulio sends Kayla McDougall through center. McDougall with speed on the left wing side, pulls up, waits for help, slides to the point. Sarah Sampson, traffic emerges in front. Down low it goes instead. McDougall trying to dangle past Margaret McDonald. McDonald, very short-handed defensive defenseman, comes up with the turnover. Middlebury looking for the clear. Still rolling just inside the blue line. They are not able to get it out as of yet. Players go down, Fairfield and Billings, but now taken back by the Panthers. And on the far side, it is Nakamura sliding the distance as Middlebury will get some changes. There's a loose glove and stick. It looks like a Panther glove. That's come free behind the net. Actually, 2 gloves, one on the far side, one behind the cage, along with a piece of lumber. And Kayla McDougall down on the corner, monitored by McNally on the forecheck. Sarah Sampson near side, going to Kate Fairfield, gets the touch to the blue line and just out. Bono, far side, Bergman, touch pass on as McNally chips to the corner and gives chase behind Kara Bueller. Now to Julio again. Looking for the angle far side with under 4 to go in the first period. Middlebury, 7-4 shots on goal advantage and the 1-0 lead. Shorthanded tally by Anna McNally. Behind the net, Lindsey Brown crashes together with Karen Levin. Levin goes down, Brown stays up, but Middlebury has the puck. Looking for the clear on the far side. Again, players go down. Claire O'Connor is shaken up. Sarah Smith falls, and that's the wrong person to fall in front of because here comes Salino on the left wing side. Salino floats one in front, but a late whistle as finally the referee has realized that Claire O'Connor is still shaken up and down behind the play. So that rush by Middlebury for naught, and the Plattsburgh trainer is headed out onto the ice to attend to Claire O'Connor. Hopefully just had the wind knocked out of her as she got together with, I believe that was Dumont, and got upended. See, she's already moved both skates and both arms, so that's a good sign. We've seen a number of players this weekend take tumbles and be shaken up only to come back and skate fine later, so hopefully this is just the latest in that series. Right now, it's a 1-0 game in favor of Middlebury with 3.5 to play in the first. Reminder, between periods 1 and 2, you'll hear from Plattsburgh senior defenseman and co-captain Julie Devereaux. And then between periods 2 and 3, Anne-Marie Chalino will be the guest. O'Connor stays down, and certainly we hope the best for her. Claire O'Connor, junior forward, out of Chicago. Illinois continuing to produce some good hockey players at an increasing frequency. Julie Devereaux, actually from Lombard, Illinois as well. O'Connor, good year last year, averaged a point per game, 7 goals, 22 helpers for the Panthers. And averaging a point per game this year with a goal and 4 assists. And it continues to stay down, so hopefully things not too bad. Now being helped into a sitting position by the trainer. As you mentioned, we have seen full movement from the extremities. And now she's actually getting to her feet. Still looks a little bit woozy on the skates, and actually she is being helped off as Lori Bowler will come over to assist. So this appears to be a little more than just shaken up, but O'Connor is aware, and as you mentioned, did see enough movement, so as she's guided off the ice, we hope for the best. And the crowd here at Kenyon Arena gives her a hand. That puts a rare stoppage in what has been a fairly quick pace to this one in the first period. As you expect, in Middlebury and Plattsburgh, they do not mess around. There's good flow to their game. You know, you'll hear Julie Devereaux talk about it, how much they actually love playing against the Panthers because of the style of games that tend to emerge. And having done a couple of them the last few years, I can't disagree. They've been certainly fun to watch. And now finally we'll reset the action. Faceoff will be to the left of Danielle Beatty because remember, Middlebury had gone down on the rush before the official realized that O'Connor was shaken up. And so the draw is in the offensive zone for the Panthers. Quick shot taken. Vitt was in front, couldn't bring the stick to bear. Gets together with Shara Smith on the far side, and it's Blanchard now in the corner, sliding it around for Steph Moberg. Moberg, who played defense a year ago, moved up to her forward position this year. And has been teaming with Blanchard and Bywater on this potent line for Kevin Oole's Cardinals. Blanchard dispossessed on the poke check. Levin with the steal, trying to accelerate in traffic. Poke check from behind by Ainsley Bryan. So she whips it around far side. Nora Bergman gets a touch to it there. The 5'1 freshman out of Massachusetts tries to protect against the larger Bryan. Blanchard over as well, as is Ashley Barros and Molly Vitt for the Panthers. 2:50 to go in the first period. 1-0 Middlebury. Shorthanded goal. McNally from Salino at 12:32. Puck rolling down. Blanchard's been out there for a while. Continues to press the issue on the forecheck. Now she'll head off as DiGiulio takes over the duties. And Karen Levin takes over the puck. Levin moving through center. Slips underneath Kayla McDougall. Levin charging forward through the neutral zone. Gains the high slot. Wrist shot and a glove save by Beatty as Nakamura came probing for a potential rebound. You know, Kenyon Arena is a bigger ice surface, and that's a situation where I'm not sure Kevin Oole wants his defenseman backing up that far to where Levin can actually get into the highest slot and pick her spot. I want to gap up and challenge the shooter a little bit before that. But that's one of the adjustments you have to make on the bigger sheet. As near side DiGiulio lobs to the blue line and just out. Brought back in by Molly West. West on left wing throws it into the chest protector of Beatty. And the ninth shot of the night that Beatty has faced. She's turned aside 8 thus far, and the faceoff will be to her right with 2:13 to play in this first period. Moon was chased from the circle, so Bowler to do the honors, and she wins it cleanly. Shara Smith now on to Bowler. Bowler indirect pass to herself. Harassed, that's a clear penalty. And as Bowler goes down, Molly West will be hit for an obstruction call. Both referees wearing the armband tonight saw it and raised the arm. So now we'll see Plattsburgh on the power play. After Middlebury had a couple of opportunities, Plattsburgh's power play the last time around was victimized by the shorthanded goal, so looking for better returns on their investment this time around as Brown, McDougall, Bowler, Bryan, and Smith will start out. Nakamura, McNally, Salino, or excuse me, that's Dumont, McNally, Salino, and Kenny. Penalty killing quartet. Down in the corner, Kayla McDougall winds it behind. Dug free though, blasted to the point. Bryan, a nice denial of the clearing attempt by Dumont. 1:49 in the period. McDougall off the wall to Bowler. Bowler up now to Bryan on the swing to Shara Smith. Smith with a puck on edge, blasts away. Bloom parried it to the back wall. Lindsey Brown and Tanya Kenny get together. Bowler double teams the puck and kicks it free, but it goes right to Salino, who circles behind the net. Salino stick handles her way out of some trouble in the corner. Takes a moment to gather, is able to get it beyond the blue line. McNally and Salino are away shorthanded. Salino leading the charge on the right wing side, McNally trailing. Salino just gets it deep now with a minute 15 to go in the period and a minute 10 left on the minor penalty to Molly West. At center ice, Salino rotates back to intercept Bowler. And McDougal has to wait with her teammate trapped off sides, and actually that dump in hit Bywater on the wrong side of the blue line, so the whistle comes out. McDougal now sends the top power play unit out, led by Blanchard and Devereaux. And off the draw, Amber Ellis on right wing. Protects the puck hard, lost her edge, one-hands it in front, she drew a penalty. And now, in the final minute of the first period, golden opportunity for Plattsburgh. That penalty, little more marginal maybe, but as Ellis was going down, got the benefit of the call there as Bono was escorted off. May have helped her down as well. So 5-on-3 for 54 seconds and only 59 seconds left on the clock. So Plattsburgh being handed a golden opportunity to regain the momentum here going into the dressing room. Blanchard will stay out there between Bywater and Ellis, Moberg and Devereaux on the points. Salino, Nakamura, and Kenny, the unenviable task on 3-on-5. Off the draw, it's Moberg. Moberg, though, fumbles the puck out of the zone. Good break for Middlebury. And Plattsburgh will have to reset. Julie Devereaux. Near side it comes, Moberg. Plenty of room to operate here on this big sheet 5-on-3. Down low it goes. Ellis will let Blanchard play it on the far side along the goal line. Up top now, Devereaux. Devereaux takes a couple of strides in, feeding Moberg. Big wind-up shot is blocked to the corner by Nakamura. Blanchard legging after it, as is Salino. Salino gets the stick underneath Blanchard, pushes it out of the zone, and challenges Moberg at the other end of the ice with 28 seconds on the first period clock. Bywater on the backhand, throws it down. Icing waved off, so Kenny will pick up in the corner. Takes a moment to turn, looks at where her angle is, goes to the air, and fires it all the way down. That should just about do it for the 5-on-3 and potentially for the period. Maybe one final rush here with 8 seconds left, but Julie Devereaux doesn't appear to be in that much of a hurry. Near side it comes to Steph Moberg. Moberg on through McDougal, only 2 seconds left. McDougal trying to turn the corner, walks it to the front, is bowled over by Tanya Kenny, and the horn sounds. There'll still be a minute 2 of power play time remaining for the Cardinals when the second period resumes, but Middlebury, a good first period for Bill Mandigo's Panthers, highlighted by another great rush by the tandem of Salino, the junior, and McNally, the freshman. McNally picking up the shorthanded goal from Salino at 12:32. Panthers limit the Cardinals to just 4 shots on goal in that opening period of play. And Lexi Bloom among those 4, made a couple of outstanding saves, one against Blanchard on a one-timer and stopping Lori Bowler on a breakaway as well. So after one, it is 1-0 in favor of Middlebury. We'll step aside for a quick timeout. On the other side, you will hear from Plattsburgh senior defenseman and captain Julie Devereaux. You're watching the USCHO Game of the Week. We'll be back in just a moment.
You got a gift, son. With that gift comes a lot of responsibility. That's why we're gonna pull you out of school. We're gonna get you a big-time agent. We're gonna hold out for the biggest pro sports contract possible.
Okay, Pop.
We're gonna make heaps of cash.
Bottrell from the sharp angle, fires and she scores! Jennifer Bottrell from along the goal line. Quick one-timer, scored! Jada Hefford, her second of the night. Exquisite finishing touch. Apps on a breakaway. Apps moving in. Wrist shot, she scored! Jillian Apps, the breakaway speed and finishing ability. My guest is Plattsburgh senior defenseman and co-captain Julie Devereaux. Cardinals unbeaten in 34 consecutive games, defending national champion, off to the 5-0 start. And Julie, it is a new season, so let's talk about the new season first. 5-0, a lot of returning parts to this team.
How do you guys feel about the way things have started?
It's definitely been a good start. We definitely have Danielle Beatty is our goalie, our starting goalie, and she's definitely stepped it up. So that's always good because we did lose Brianne Doyle as our goalie. So Danielle Beatty has stepped it up for us, and just our forwards have came in. Our freshmen have came in and just really made their mark and are doing great. And we're really clicking as a team. So starting off, we're just doing really well together, and that's exactly what we wanted.
Talk a little bit more about Beatty's play. I mean, she's not new to the program.
Right.
She's been here, but clearly you got used to playing in front of Bree Doyle for a couple of years here. So Beatty maybe a little bit different style. How is she out there as a goaltender, and sort of how are you as a defenseman maybe trying to help her get comfortable?
Right. I think that Danielle Beatty is she sees the puck really well. She knows where the puck is at, and she makes those saves. But there's also some rebounds that get dished out a couple times here and there that just slip out. So as a defenseman, we really try to watch for those pucks getting slipped out and make sure that we're clearing out in front of the net, and so that they don't get those extra rebounds and those extra goals that could possibly tie a game or even lose a game for us. So we're doing really well defensively, clearing out the net and making sure those rebounds don't get in the net. And Danielle Beatty's doing a great job keeping it out. So.
Now, you've been doing this captain thing for a couple of years as well. So now, you're the senior, and it's interesting on this roster, there really still are not that many seniors. It's still really dominated by players who will be back for yet another year. So tell me a little bit about being captain for this team, some of the things you try to bring to the table, and then maybe some of the things that, Danielle Blanchard and Lindsey Brown try to play off you in doing that as well.
Well, I just think that we all work together. I think that's the main thing, being captains together. We feed off each other really well. We motivate each other really well. I don't think that I bring any different qualities that my other two captains bring, but I think we work so well together, and we hear each other so clearly that it just we just work well as captains together. So nothing in particular for myself, but I just try to motivate my team, and we just know how to act around each other, and it works out well for us.
Talk a little bit about your own game. You're now a senior. You're an accomplished player. You can play at both ends. Saw a little bit of that yesterday. We've seen it throughout your career with over 60 points. What are some of the things that, coming back as a senior, you really focused on trying to make better?
Just picking my head up, looking for that open ice. I think I really need to work on, just making that good pass and that good play so that it does get out of our zone. And that's the key point with defensively. You really need to get it out of your own zone. So I just think I need to pick up my head more and just look for that open player and just see the ice a little bit more better. But yeah, so it's been good.
Now you also get to play against one of the great offensive players in Division III. You mentioned Danielle Blanchard once, and certainly saw it again yesterday. 2 more goals for her, already 10 on the season. Talk about playing against her in practice. I mean, we see the greatness in games, and what is it like watching, what's been the last 3 years watching that daily basis?
Yeah, it's great. She's just an amazing player and a well-rounded person. On the ice at practice, every time she comes out and she plays like she plays in a game. Every time we practice, she plays like she plays in a game, and it just goes to show that how you practice is how you play on the ice. So she definitely brings it every time, and it's always good to go against her one-on-one to see if we can stop those moves that she makes against other teams. So it's pretty fun, and she's a great person, and it's good playing against her.
Talking with Plattsburgh captain and defenseman Julie Devereaux. We're going to shift gears on you a bit, a little bit of personal background. You're from the Midwest. You're from the state of Illinois.
That's right.
Every player that comes on the program's got sort of the how I got started in hockey, so I'm going to throw it to you and make you rewind the clock. How did you first wind up picking up the stick and put it on the skates?
Oh, wow. I was about 7 years old, and I just watched actually a couple of my neighbors play. They were boys, and I watched a couple of my neighbors play at a local ice arena back in Lombard, Illinois, and I just turned to my parents and said, "Mom, Dad, I want to play hockey," and they were just going with it. They said, "Okay," and my parents have been so dedicated for me, with me playing hockey and stuff all throughout my life. They've been there, in every clinic that I could possibly be in, making every practice, making every game. So I definitely couldn't have been where I am today without my parents, and so I really dedicate a lot of my hockey experience to them.
Well, it's a road that eventually led you to the Plattsburgh program. So take me a little bit through the college process. I mean, Plattsburgh, they've clearly been a program on the rise. It's been on the cusp of greatness for a couple of seasons. But, like a lot of players, D1, D3, a lot of things that are out there to decide upon. So take me through some of the things you were looking for and some of the things that really convinced you that Plattsburgh was that place for you.
Well, it's just definitely, that feeling, that gut feeling inside. When you're visiting a college, you really look for the environment and whether or not you like it, whether or not you like that type of environment and want to be around those type of places and, that type of school. As far as hockey-wise, you really got to have a good relationship with the coach. You got to make sure that, you like how the coach plays, like his playing style, watching a couple of the games, do you like how he plays on the ice and, his different types of techniques. So that's a big thing to take into. But for the most part, just you just have to feel good about it. And for the most part, I knew Plattsburgh was the place for me, and I don't regret it at all. My 4 years have been great here, and my coaches have just been amazing, and I couldn't ask for anything more.
Now, you're a great person to ask because Plattsburgh, as we said, was not one of these programs that kind of burst on the scene, won it all in one fell swoop. It took a lot of tries to get there, and you were certainly a player who went through semifinals, finals, and you finally got over the hump. So take me back to last March, the kind of season, the kind of run you were on. Horn sounds, you've got it. Take me back to that feeling, what that was like.
It's just that feeling that you can't explain. It's just that feeling that everyone looks for. It's amazing once it happens, and doing it undefeated and just with a great group of girls. You just couldn't ask for more. And it's hard going through games, and then I know what it's like to take fourth in the Final Four. I was there my freshman year, and then taking third, and so finally to take first place is just an unreal feeling, and I definitely couldn't ask for more. It was a great experience.
At the same time, it puts you in a new role, which is you're in the role that Middlebury was in for so many years. You're the team. You're the team on top that everyone wants to come after. I mean, I don't know how much you feel that on a game-to-game basis, but talk a little bit about how, as captains, maybe as some of the older players, trying to set that tone about what this is going to be like.
Yeah, we deal with it every year. It's always hard to set the tone because, you can't really explain it. You just got to go out there and experience it for yourself. So you really just got to, mentally make sure that everyone's ready mentally-wise. And then, once you get on the ice, it's all you. So just really look forward to doing that.
Let's talk a little bit about Middlebury because they're waiting for you in about 60 minutes. And now, as I said, they're hunting you as opposed to the other way around. And you're in their building at the start of their season. So talk about some of the matchups you have with them. It almost feels like you guys play in the same league at this point. But talk about what it's like, and especially as a defenseman, some of the keys to containing their offense. Yeah, well, their offense is definitely different than most of the teams that we do play. They like to float a girl high and make that long ice pass. So we definitely watch out for the girl floating. As a defenseman, we watch out for the girl floating high and making sure that she's covered, or else there will be that breakaway or that one-on-one action. So we really offensively also we have to just dig deep and make sure that it doesn't get out of their zone, and that's where we need to focus hard and as just burying the puck and making sure it gets in the net. So they're a great team, and we always love playing them. It's classy hockey, it's good hockey, and we love playing against them. They're a great team, and so we look forward every year to playing them.
The USCHO Game of the Week is the first ever national internet broadcast for women's college hockey. It is also individually funded. That's why the Game of the Week needs your support to maintain and expand its coverage. For more information on how to contribute, please call 212-933-0652 or send an email to uschobroadcast@yahoo.com. That's 212-933-0652 or uschobroadcast@yahoo.com.
Should
from the sharp angle, fires, and she scores! Jennifer Bottrell from along the goal line. Quick one-timer, scored! Jada Hefford, her second of the night. Exquisite finishing touch. Apps on a breakaway. Apps moving in. Rich shot, she scored! Jillian Apps, the breakaway speed and finishing ability.
Welcome back to Chip Kenyon Arena on the campus of Middlebury College between periods 1 and 2. Middlebury enjoying a 1-0 lead over Plattsburgh. The lone goal, McNally from Salino, shorthanded at 12:32. Shots 8-4, as you can see on the scoreboard, in favor of the host Panthers, who are trying to become the first team in 35 games to solve the Plattsburgh Cardinals. And Plattsburgh, somewhat of a similar start to yesterday. They started the Williams game very slow as well. Outshot 9-6 in that opening period, and then really kind of took it to the eaves from there, even though they only came up with a 2-0 win. That mostly largely the exploits of Denise McCulloch between the pipes in preserving that margin of 2. But Plattsburgh, this is a different type of opponent, certainly. And even though Middlebury's a younger team, one thing I commented to Coach before the game, you can't teach speed. He's still got some players who can flat out get up and down the ice, and that is a huge asset as teams try to find their way. You know, worst case, a player doesn't really know what they're doing, but they can get there in a hurry. That's always one way to make up for a mistake. So, and Middlebury hasn't made too many at even strength. I think Coach Manigo probably a little bit more concerned about the power play situation. They had a couple looks in that first period, didn't get a lot done with those, didn't mount much of an attack against Elmira last night, and clearly Middlebury's power play has been a key cog in their success for many years, and you'd expect by the year's end they'll be back in that mid-20s percentage range, but for right now, still finding their way here on opening weekend. Plattsburgh, on the other hand, is -1 special teams because on one of their power plays, which has been working well most of the season, they surrendered the shorthanded goal to Anne-Marie Salino, and really saw the brilliance of Salino stick handling through a couple of defenders, using her skate, using her stick to hold on to the puck. Her backhand offering was saved, but Anna McNally, the freshman who has complimented Salino so well this opening weekend, followed up for her second career goal. And so as both teams return to the ice, it is Middlebury 1 and Plattsburgh 0. A reminder, next week we return to the Division I Forum. St. Lawrence and Dartmouth, two of the top teams in the ECAC, go head-to-head Friday night at 7. Dartmouth star Tiffany Haig will stop by. And then the following Tuesday, right back to Dartmouth again as Harvard comes to town. So we'll get a look at some of the Eastern powers. And then after that, it's post-grad time, as we've been talking about. Tiffany's own team will have them, the Brampton Thunder, on December 8th as they play host to the Burlington Barracudas. December 1st, Calgary Oval Extreme. Some of the best players in Canada, current Olympians, former Olympians, some of the great college players too. Rebecca Russell of St. Lawrence, Megan Walton of Dartmouth, a couple players who play up there now. They'll pay a visit to the Minnesota Whitecaps, who, among others, will have Natalie Darwitz, Angela Ruggiero, Winnie Brote, Sherry Vogt on their roster for that one. So that should be a lot of fun at the Anoka Area Ice Arena, December 1st. That game will be at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. local time. Underway here in the second period, Middlebury still has a player in the box for 35 seconds, and through center comes Amber Ellis. Ellis on the right wing side, gains the zone, trying to protect the puck. Kenny reaching for it. Got a piece of Ellis as well, but enough for the puck that we play on. And as it's fired high through the air, Salino legs after it shorthanded. Headed off by the sure-handed Julie Devereaux. Devereaux feeding Steph Moberg, right back Devereaux near side. Devereaux pauses behind her own net, emerges on right wing, feeds Danielle Blanchard. Blanchard had the one great look in the first period on the one-timer, and Lexi Bloom was able to come up with the save. So early returns on Bloom positive. As we mentioned, a breakaway stop and the big save on Blanchard. But limited opportunities, only four shots on goal in those opening 20 minutes. You figure Plattsburgh will test her more over the course of this evening. Back to five-a-side now as the bouncing puck finds the stick of Andrea Buono just out of the box. Can't hold the line on the follow, and so dips it back to Karen Levin in the Middlebury half. Her lead pass is tipped, and good to see Claire O'Connor is back on the ice. So she was reaching for that puck in the neutral zone. O'Connor was shaken up in that first period, but appears, like many before her this weekend, that although it was a little more serious at the outset, Just the wind knocked out of her, and she's back playing a regular shift here in the second. Banked off the wall to Erica Nakamura, went through her stick. Plattsburgh couldn't hold the line, and so Lori Bowler will have to come back and pick up in the neutral zone. Bowler on right wing, knifes through one defender. Nice dangle move to get through two. Powers to the front, lost her edge. We play on as a Middlebury defender lost her stick as well. It's lobbed on ahead, went behind Nakamura that time. And as Plattsburgh fires back in, McDougal and Buono will contest for it down low. Levin met by DiGiulio. Swarmed under now as McDougal came over as well. DiGiulio, nice little move to walk it in front. Lost the handle. In steps Bueller for a drive, and she missed the target on the near post. Amber Ellis on the backhand, rolled it up the side of the net, and Lexi Bloom alertly falls on top of it to get the whistle. 2.5 gone in the second period. Still Middlebury 1 and Plattsburgh 0. Steph Moon, Margaret McDonald, face-off duties. Moon who gets the best of that one. And Bueller lobs to the corner. As behind the net, Kristen Wilson, a touch for Middlebury. The quick reversal out the far side to Julia Ireland. Nakamura breaking through center. Pass eluded her as Devereaux got in the way, but Nakamura catches up on left wing in the offensive zone. Bumped off her skates, and it's Plattsburgh back in control. Here comes Moon through center. Nice short distance pass to Kate Fairfield. Fairfield in the high slot, has the puck roll on her a bit. So she puts it to the corner. And a Moon goes down there against Margie Billings, the opposite number 7. Julia Ireland. Saucers one intended for Nakamura. Devereaux reaching for it as well. Devereaux tracks it back in her own end, and the senior captain and defenseman out of Illinois, who you just heard from in that first intermission, sends it up left wing and out. Through center, Brittany Mead. Mead on the forehand, lobs it deep. Both teams with some sustained 5-on-5. An opportunity to roll their units here. He's on right wing now. McNally trying to slip a pass through to Salino, who blew a tire. Intercepted, taken back, and here's Blanchard with some space to operate on right wing. Fanned on her pass attempt. Give and go play was on. They were trying to bank it off the side of the net. Moberg's pass went begging, and they'll start the cycle instead. Bywater far side, met by Dumont. Bywater, nice poke check, comes up with the turnover, and goes down with Dumont as Moberg reaches for it and gets it back to Bywater behind the cage. Jess Bennett comes over to help out. She tries to find an outlet in Margaret McDonald. McDonald still below the end line, goes far side to Dumont, and it's Dumont trying to headman, hitting instead Bennett at the blue line. Turned over to Bywater. Blanchard trying to knife her way free. Nifty moves, gets into the high slot. Blanchard playmaking, trying to lay it across. That pass did not go through. And taken back by Shara Smith on the near side as she deals to the corner where it goes through Blanchard's stick to Bywater. Flopped in front and taken by McNally in the high slot. She'll spring Salino to center, who is dispossessed by Shara Smith. And offsides as Bywater had not yet exited the zone. So we'll get a whistle and a stoppage with 4:23 off the second period clock. And Anna McNally's shorthanded tally from Anne-Marie Salino at 12:32 of the first, the only goal we have on the board thus far. Officially, neither goaltender has faced a shot in this second period either for the first 4:23. Still 8-4 Panthers in that department as Molly Vitt bats it out of the zone. And offsides again, going to be the call on the Plattsburgh Cardinals. As you mentioned, 32-0-2 in their last 34 outings, including the NCAA championship at the expense of Middlebury last March. That victory snapping Middlebury's senior class of a year ago, including the likes of Abby Kurtz, Phelan, Shannon Sylvester, Shannon Tarrant, denying their bid to go perfect in their careers. They had won 3 consecutive national titles and gotten to the finals as seniors. Centering pass from Moberg, tipped away into the near corner. Scooped up and fired ahead to center. Too far for the intended receiver, Barrows. Ainsley Bryan gets it to Lindsey Brown, and as she tipped the puck, it went into the penalty box, so we get a stoppage. McDougal and McDonald on the draw. Stolen by Amber Ellis. And here comes Ellis, right wing side. Ellis trying to turn the corner. Double team. Billings went hard into the back wall to dispossess her. In front, DiGiulio couldn't bring the stick to bear. The puck rolls up the seam as DiGiulio puts it back down below the end line, and McDougal fights with Billings one more time. Ellis trying to center. Pulled away by Nakamura. Lightly off the wall. Not out of the zone as Devereaux holds. Margaret McDonald back to Nakamura. And the junior forward lobs to center where it goes through the stick of Julia Ireland, so a slower pace of the second period thus far than what we saw through some of the first. McDougal trying to get inside Margaret McDonald, who holds her ground and lays it near side to Molly West. West headed off by Ellis. McDougal still there as well. Billings trying to get the clear, did get it beyond the blue line, and Plattsburgh looking for wholesale changes with the bench on the near side, sends Steph Moon in on the forecheck. Long lead pass as Nakamura was leaking through the neutral zone. Recovery by Brittany Mead, and no shot taken as Plattsburgh looks for the clear. And maybe looks for a little bit more as Steph Moon races up right wing. Moon gets around Dumont, lost her edge, bats it between the circles. It's just lying there and fluttering. Nakamura banks it to the blue line, but not out, as Tara Khan puts it back to the corner. Nakamura, another chance on the backhand, headed off again by Steph Moon. Moon on the forehand, pushes it down the wall, trickles to Tanya Kenny. Kenny takes over, sends it to Julia Ireland, and Ireland is away through center. Close to not gaining the red line on that dump in, but got the benefit of the doubt. And with 13:15 to go in the second, we play on. Salino with a steal. Salino inside out to get to the left wing side, curls to the corner. McNally is on to help out. McNally spun around behind the net. Moon goes down, tries to turn it free, far side Kate Fairfield. Dumont scurries over to Black. Getting in the way of that. Going to be a penalty as Dumont was deposited to the ice by the larger Fairfield, and so a penalty whistled on Kate Fairfield. Power play coming up for the Panthers. 12:58 showing on the second period clock. Still just 1-0 Middlebury. The customary top power play unit looks like McNally, Salino, Vitt, Dumont, and Levin, and they win the draw. Salino lays it across. Levin right back Salino. Winds, fires, looking for the tip. It's loose between the circles and batted out of the zone. Blanchard shadowing Salino through center as the junior star from Middlebury sends it near side to Karen Levin. Levin, the senior, drops it in. Beatty stops it behind the cage for Ainsley Bryan. Bryan slaps it up the wall. Levin seals it off. And then it's poked beyond the blue stripe, and Moberg will press the issue against Salino, who backpedals to her own end. Wheels away from Moberg to create space, goes near side Levin with 1:27 to go on the power play. Ainsley Bryan picks up behind her own net. Dumont closes the gap in a hurry. Double team provided by Molly Vitt. Dug nicely by Bryan to the front, and Blanchard does the rest, shooting at the distance. Bloom wanders away from her crease to play it to Nora Bergman just on. Both teams going for some changes. Bergman gains center ice and lobs in from there. Nakamura speeding after Julie Devereaux, who hammers it around the boards and down once again. Half the power play has expired. Middlebury still with a 1-0 lead. McNally the shorthanded tally in the first period. Only goal we have thus far is Kenny on the far side. Looks at her options. Goes rink wide to Bergman over the line. Bergman with speed. Has Barrows trailing. Barrows right back Bergman. They crisscross in the corner. Shara Smith, the lone defender between. And it's Barrows now sending far side Nakamura, who starts to work on the perimeter with Kenny. They play catch on the far side, just holding the blue line in the process. An errant service by Kenny. It's banked up the board. She holds it again under duress just outside the Middlebury bench. Digging for it, Lindsey Brown. And finally, it's hammered free and down by Cara Bueller. 18 ticks to go on the Kate Fairfield minor. Not much doing again for this Middlebury power play. Nora Bergman wrenches it free of a little scrum down on her own end. Has two players ahead of her, Salino and McNally. Bergman content to play dump and chase. We'll let the top duo for the Panthers go in on the forecheck. Salino nearly stealing it away from Bowler. Back to five aside. A long headman pass intercepted at center by Margaret McDonald. And McDonald will seal it deep to the zone for Middlebury one more time. Coming up on the midway point of the hockey game. Still 1-0 Panthers. Puck down in the zone of the Cardinals. Danielle Beatty. There's been only one total shot on goal in the first 10 minutes of this second period. 9-4 Middlebury. In walks Kristen Wilson. Floating it far side to Salino. Salino trying to lay it in front to McNally. That pass was off the mark. Fairfield trying to take over. Poke checked away by Wilson, but right to Shara Smith. Claire O'Connor through center. Has some room to operate. Darts to the left wing side. Bowler is trailing. O'Connor steps through one check to get to the corner. Billings draped on her back, and Bowler trying to establish a cycle finds Fairfield behind the net. Fairfield on the bank pass. It rolls up the side of the cage and in front, but alertly taken by Salino, doing it at both ends. She sends it up right wing to Ashley Barrows. Salino's headed off on a change. Barrows pressing the issue offensively. Dispossessed and floated back the other way by Ainsley Bryant. A little more defensive-minded second period than we might have expected. Claire O'Connor trying to change that at the end of her shift. Moves in on right wing. Centering pass in. Backhander by DiGiulio, and that whistle's just wide. Best scoring opportunity for either team in this middle frame. Now the headman pass too far for Kayla McDougal. McDougal will get the first touch in the corner. One-touch pass trying to get it to DiGiulio in front. Ellis couldn't do that. And now Middlebury gets the clear successfully, as Beatty will watch it drift down by her crease, and Tara Khan will scoop it up. Slingshots the net near side. Touch pass from Ellis. Turned over. In walks Julia Ireland. Wrist shot. She scores! Julia Ireland snaps it past. And the freshman, her first collegiate goal, has Middlebury up 2-0. So a bad bank on the breakout. Plattsburgh maybe a little less familiar with the boards here. That puck did not go where it was supposed to on the indirect pass. It went right to Julia Ireland, who was able to walk it down the slot. And she went near side. So McNally and Ireland, two of the freshmen being asked to replace that outstanding class of 6 from a year ago. And it is the rookie class for the Panthers that has them up 2-0 here over the defending national champions with 9 minutes to play in the second. So Ireland unassisted. Her first collegiate goal. Julia Ireland, 5'8" freshman out of Greenwich Academy. And she joins Anna McNally as rookies on the goal-scoring chart this weekend. McNally has a pair to go with her assist, and Ireland now with a tally. And a big goal to give Middlebury a little bit of breathing room. Plattsburgh still 4 shots on goal after 32 minutes of play. That is certainly a more stingy defensive effort than I think even Bill Mandigo would have hoped for against this kind of offensive prowess. But Plattsburgh just has not had the great jump. They've not had the great chances except for those early looks by Blanchard and Bowler. Nakamura behind the net. Hands off to Karen Levin. Levin charges down low. Levin walks it behind the net. Centers now Jess Bennett. One touches back for Levin. Blanchard now breaks up the cycle, and she'll try to skate it out of harm's way. Beating Moberg on the far side. Clearing attempt denied by Levin for the moment. Then Moberg gets it free. Has Blanchard on ahead. And here comes Blanchard. Can she turn the corner? Blanchard walking it in. Rolled over. And there's going to be a call as Tanya Kenny was not going to let the star captain for the Cardinals get free for a breakaway. The call made for tripping. So Danielle Blanchard makes a play to give her team some life and give her team a power play opportunity with 8 minutes to go in the second period. And Plattsburgh still looking for its first shot in this middle frame, down 2-0. Kenny heads to the box. Blanchard will take a well-deserved seat on the bench, and it will be the second unit. O'Connor, Bowler, and Brown across the front, with Ainsley Bryan and Shara Smith manning the points. McNally, Salino, Levin, and Buono on this 4-on-5. Bowler, there's the first shot of the period. Not much on it, though. Easy stick save for Lexi Bloom. And then an errant pass at the point, and O'Connor kind of looks to the heavens. Been that kind of period. And she was frustrated. Bryan went one way, the puck went the other. Not on the same page, and Plattsburgh will have to regroup with 90 seconds to go on their power play. Long diagonal pass. That could be an icing on the Cardinals. And there's the whistle from the official, so that's a bad pass as well. Plattsburgh a little bit out of the rhythm here, down 2-0 with their 34-game unbeaten streak. And a little bit of jeopardy against the number 2 ranked team in the country. Salino will stay on to take the draw against Blanchard. We have seen those two opposite each other and in one-on-one situations a couple of times tonight. Off the draw, Devereaux turns it over. McNally, dangerous short-handed. Julie Devereaux is not an easy player to pick off. And Blanchard now escapes McNally. And here comes Blanchard trying to take matters into her own hands. Blanchard with speed through center creates a 3-on-2. She's sweeping wide on left wing. The centering pass intended for Ellis, but Levin got in the way and swept it free to Buono. Has plenty of time to shuttle the puck all the way down. Near side, Ellis, or rink wide it goes Bywater. The trailer is Moberg. Outside the far ring. Shoveled down behind the net for Bywater. Bywater feeding Ellis. Blanchard trying to get free in front of the cage. Nakamura all over her. shadowing her closely. Now Blanchard might have inside position. They can't get her the puck. It rolls in front. Chance here for Ellis. Turns it toward Bloom, who makes the stick save. Got a penalty in front. And as Bywater went down, the call made for checking. And given that Middlebury touched it, I would think this is going the way of the Panthers. So 5-on-3 for Plattsburgh. For the second time tonight, this is 29 seconds. Looks like Billings and Kenny will sit in the box. Kenny's out in 29 seconds. So Bowler, Brown, O'Connor, Bryan, and Smith, key face-off for them. They can get set up. They've got a half a minute to work with 2 extra skaters, down a pair of goals. They do win the draw. Smith settles it down to the near point. Cross-ice Bryan, down low O'Connor. Sneaking in is Smith. Backdoor, Brown was there, but she whiffed on the one-timer, caught the heel of her stick. Back up now Smith. Swing now to Bryan. 15 seconds of the 5-on-3. Smith, diagonal pass down low. It's O'Connor. Patient, feeding Bryan. Back for Smith. One-timer. Bloom gets across and actually dislodges the net inadvertently. So a good break for Middlebury as they'll get the whistle and the face-off to the right of Bloom. 5 seconds to go on the 5-on-3. 6:08 left in the second. Middlebury 2 and Plattsburgh nothing. Anna McNally and Julia Ireland have the goals thus far. Plattsburgh wins another draw, so they can get one more attempt away here, 5-on-3. Smith trying to do just that. Good pressure applied, though, by Nakamura. And there goes Salino shorthanded, trying to spring Kenny out of the box. Kenny couldn't get a shot away, though. Good recovery by Smith. And back the other way comes Claire O'Connor. This is 2-on-1 for Plattsburgh. O'Connor walking it in, goes across, redirect, sliding save by Lexi Bloom against Lindsey Brown. Still a minute 13 to go on the minor penalty to Margie Billings, but Bloom coming up big here in the recent moments after not seeing any activity for the first half of the period. Down low, nice pass, in walks Bowler, poke check by Bloom, the follow rolls just wide as O'Connor blasted away. 56 seconds on the man advantage. Down low, Bowler, space opening up now for the Plattsburgh offense. They've already had as many shots in these last 60 seconds as they had in the first 14 minutes of the period. Out in front walks O'Connor. Save is made on the poke check. Rebound is left. Levin's trying to get the cover, and finally the whistle comes out as Bowler was right there hacking at it as well. Middlebury lost its assignment in tight as they allowed O'Connor to walk it into the crease area. But Bloom using the poke check on 2 or 3 occasions tonight. That appears to be one of her go-to moves. And keeps this a 2-0 game with 5 to go in the second. Blanchard wins the draw cleanly. Big momentum opportunity here. Plattsburgh gets a goal off this sequence. They're right back in it. Middlebury staves off the 5-on-3. Momentum swings back to them. Here's Blanchard. Nice move and pass down low to Ellis. Ellis had to go through her stick. Blanchard cruises to the front. Ellis walks it out. Sharp angle shot saved. Bywater picks up the Karen far side. Swings it near corner to Blanchard. Final 15 on the power play. Blanchard looking at her options, goes down low to Ellis. Ellis in front, Bywater tips it. Bloom got it between the wickets and held on. Plattsburgh offense starting to find some synchronization here, seeing some better looks, some better team plays being crafted to get shots on Lexi Bloom, as now they've actually attempted 7 shots in the last couple of minutes and actually have the lead for the game 11-10. As off the draw, Blanchard wins it forward to the corner. Off the wall, finding Moberg. On the swing, Devereaux. Power play just about over. Devereaux lets fly, goes wide. Tipped back in front. Blanchard scrambling after it. Here comes Margie Billings into the play. We're back to 5 aside. Middlebury has gotten through the power play storm, but is not out of the woods just yet. McNally far side. Leads it on to Molly Vitt, and Vitt is away through center, getting the dump down, and now Middlebury will get the change. Near side, bumped through the neutral zone, taken by Margaret McDonald. Near side it comes. Touch pass for Salino just on. Angled off by Devereaux. Devereaux to the blue stripe, but not out. Bywater lost it. Salino high slot. Hands off Billings. Billings, wild wrist shot, bounces wide. Julia Ireland. In front, Salino. One-timer. Dangerous spot to leave her, but fortunately Moberg got a leg in the way and blocked it before it ever reached Beatty. 3:45 to go in the second period. USCHO Game of the Week, Cardinal Panther Classic, and Middlebury a 2-0 lead. Plattsburgh has not been defeated since Middlebury took them out in the 2006 national title game, 34 contests ago. Middlebury and freshman goaltender Lexi Bloom, only 11 saves, but a number of quality stops in her collegiate debut. That's still a long way to go in this one, considering the quality of Plattsburgh's offense. Puck rolling up the far side. Ainsley Bryan pitchforks it back below the end line. Taken there by Molly West and swung around the boards. Rolls up to the half wall, batted to center. Salino at the end of her shift thinks better of it and will just head off for fresh legs as Ainsley Bryan patrols back to pick it up behind her own net. Pulls up left wing side and reverses it quickly. Overcomes Barros to intercept. 2-on-2 scrap along the wall. DiGiulio and Bergman there as well for their colors. And Vitt finally digs it free. Leaves for Barros in the corner. Barros across, hoping for Molly Vitt. Vitt flicks it back to Barros. Monitored by Steph Moon, and Moon takes it away on the backhand, sliding it near side. Middlebury trying to establish some offensive zone presence. Since they scored that second goal on their 10th shot, they have not had a shot on goal, while Plattsburgh has mounted 7, courtesy of the power play. Bodies getting together far side. Finally drifts free to Megan DiGiulio, and she strides to the neutral zone on left wing with her team changing behind her. DiGiulio powering down low. McDougal's the trailer. DiGiulio went for the wraparound. That was denied by Bergman. And Middlebury scales it high off the glass. That was Vitt getting the clear. Devereaux promptly rifles it back in. Levin collects it behind the cage and leaves it on the bump now for Buono. Back to Levin. Diagonal pass on ahead. Bueller knocks it down with a skate. Here's DiGiulio into the high slot. Gathers, tees it up, and whistles it wide. Followed by McDougal, is batted wide as well. McDougal back on it behind the net. Trying to feather one to the front. That was denied, and it's Karen Levin trying to send Nakamura on her way. Nakamura did enough to get the clear, and this will not go the distance, so Devereaux will have to pick up back in her own half. Minute and a half to go in the second period. You'll hear from Anne-Marie Salino between periods 2 and 3. She's had a great weekend thus far, 2 goals and 2 assists. And her team has a 2-0 lead, trying to complete a great weekend for itself and stop Plattsburgh's 34-game unbeaten streak in the process. Nakamura down low, floats a backhander in front, and Beatty calmly will gather it before any shot can be taken with a minute 12 on the second period clock. Off the draw, rolls into the slot area, gathered by Ainsley Bryan. Bryan swinging it around far side. Moberg laid down for Blanchard on left wing. Blanchard moving to the center. Poke check by Kenny. Blanchard still has it. Looking for a trailer, being bothered every step of the way. Sarah Smith holds the line. Shovels it down low, goes through Shea Bywater. And now it's Jess Bennett for the Panthers. Fumbling it for a moment. Moberg trying to press the advantage. Couldn't come up with it. McNally now ties up Bywater far side. 42 seconds on the second period clock. Swept free. Kenny circles out the near side, lobs on ahead for Salino. Salino, indirect pass, gets it underneath one defender. Bryan takes an angle against McNally. Salino over to help out. A couple players go down. It's chipped back to center ice. Fielded there by Tanya Kenny. Swings it far side. Randy Dumont. Final 20 of the period. Flops it on ahead. Drops to the stick of Ainsley Bryan. A quick turnaround in front of her own net. Looking for Blanchard, who went through her legs. Bowler tips it back to Blanchard in stride. Blanchard, though, at the end of a long shift, will peel off with only 5 seconds on the second period clock. So, Middlebury a goal in the first, a goal here in the second, both coming off the sticks of freshmen McNally and Ireland. And after 2 periods of play, the Panthers are up 2-0 and 20 minutes away from taking the tournament championship on their home ice and stopping Plattsburgh's 34-game unbeaten streak in the process. But you know the defending champion Cardinals not going to give up that long run of success without a fight, so this sets up to be a dramatic third period here in the final day of our coverage of the Panther Cardinal Classic. Let's step aside for a quick timeout. On the other side, you'll hear from Middlebury junior forward Anne-Marie Salino. You're watching the USCHO Game of the Week. We'll be back in just a moment.
The USCHO Game of the Week is the first ever national internet broadcast for women's college hockey. It is also individually funded. That's why the Game of the Week needs your support to maintain and expand its coverage. For more information on how to contribute, please call 212-933-0652 or send an email to uschobroadcast@yahoo.com. That's 212-933-0652 or uschobroadcast@yahoo.com.
When it's for money, it's not the same.
Bottrell from the sharp angle, fires, and she scores! Jennifer Bottrell from along the goal line. Quick one-timer, score! Jana Hefford, her second of the night. Exquisite finishing touch. Apps on a breakaway. Apps moving in. Wrist shot, she scored! Jillian Apps, the breakaway speed and finishing ability. My guest is Middlebury junior forward and captain Anne-Marie Salino on the eve of another season for the Panthers. And Anne-Marie, take me inside the dressing room. There is one certainly notable change for this year's team versus some of the previous ones, which is you're coming off a year in which you did not go all the way for the first time in 4 seasons. How has it been like getting ready for the new season?
Well, obviously we had a loss losing the class of 2007, but we're all ready to come back, and we're looking forward to the new season, and hopefully it'll turn out well.
You know, you referenced that senior class, and certainly look at the scoring charts, and they were kind of nestled in there around you up there at the top. So tell me what it's going to be like. You know, no more Abby Kurtz-Phelan, no more Shannon Sylvester, Shannon Tarrant. When you take those players out of the lineup, you know, what do you lose? What's the hardest thing to replace?
Well, for me at least, I mean, they were all players that I looked up to and tried to model myself after, so we're losing a lot of scoring power, obviously, but the freshmen that we have coming in are really great, and hopefully returning classmates will step up.
You know, you've added the C to your jersey this year now that you're an upperclassman. You do have some help in that regard. There's actually 3 of you who kind of share the formal leadership responsibility, but tell me a little bit about what kind of captain Anne-Marie Salino tries to be.
I'm not really the rah-rah type, as my teammates will say, but I just like to do things right on the ice, and hopefully others will follow.
You're also a player who came in and made an immediate impact from day one. You've already picked up 81 points in your first 2 years on campus. So, you know, now that you're a junior, got the feel for this Division III hockey thing, what are some of the things you've been trying to fine-tune about your own game as you get ready for this year?
Well, this year will be different. Last year I was basically playing defense, so hopefully I can get back in the swing of things playing forward. But mostly I would have to say shooting the puck more. Usually I like to look to pass, but you know, if you don't have Abby Kurtz-Phelan or Shannon Sylvester, someone's got to pick up on the scoring, so hopefully I can do that this year.
You're looking back at last year's team, I think another question mark going into the season at least was, what was Middlebury going to do in goal? They'd relied on Kate Kogert for so long, and you know, Lanny Wright really kind of stepped up right away from the very first game, which we did, even though it was a loss against Plattsburgh, played brilliant in that game. You know, talk a little bit about sort of, you know, now having a little bit more stability at that position.
Yeah, definitely. Lonnie did a great job last year, but I mean, she was also a freshman, and it was a new experience, but you know, she trained really hard this summer, and I think she's going to be, you know, one of the best goaltenders you have in the league, and we're really excited that she's back with us this year.
Talking with Anne-Marie Salino of Middlebury. Going to shift gears on you a bit and go to a bit of personal background. You hail from West Seneca, New York, and every player we bring on the show has, you know, hockey origin story. So rewind the clock for me. How did you first get mixed up in the sport?
Well, I'm from a big family. I have 5 siblings, so I always just would follow my brother to his hockey games, and basically just fell into the sport. All my siblings played at one point, and just my sister and I are left still playing, so that's basically it.
You know, it came time for you to look at going to college. You know, I'm sure you had quite a decision on your hands. I know you're probably one of those players that could have opted for a Division I option if you wanted to. You went with Middlebury instead. So take me a little bit through the process, some of the things you look for. What was it about sort of the Panther program or Middlebury, the school, that convinced you that that's where you wanted to go?
That's a tough question, but I looked at a couple Division I and Division III schools. I wasn't really definite on either one, but when I came to Middlebury, I just enjoyed my stay. I really liked Coach Mandigo, and the campus is beautiful if you've ever been. So, I mean, it was a right fit for me academically and athletically.
in your first 2 years, you've certainly seen it all when it comes to Division III hockey. I mentioned the last year you finished as a national runner-up. The year before you came in, won a national championship right out of the gate. Tell me a little bit about what it's like playing as part of a Middlebury program, a program which has that kind of tradition year in, year out.
I mean, the expectations are so high with the tradition that we have. It was tough last year not winning it, but I mean, just the fact that you can come back the following season and hopefully have a run at any title, whether it be an NESCAC title or a national championship.
Now that you're upperclassmen, you're not quite at that senior year where everyone's going to start asking questions about your future, but notice your major is American Studies, so I'm going to make you look ahead, at least for a little bit here. Whether it's inside the game of hockey, whether it's totally away from the sport, what are some of the things that Anne-Marie Salino might be up to down the road?
Next question. No. I don't know. Hopefully I'll go to some type of graduate school, maybe law school, but probably not right away. I'd like to, travel and experience other things, but ultimately I'd like to end up back in Buffalo and maybe teach.
Let's get back to the task at hand. You're opening a new season, and this event, this Middlebury tournament, has really become one of the highlights of the Division III schedule. You get together some of the best teams in the country, and this year 3 of the top 5 are in attendance. A lot of national championships in past years that are on hand. And, of course, Game 1 against Elmira, Game 2 potentially maybe against that same Plattsburgh team again. Tell me a little bit about preparations for Game 1 and maybe, the 3 captains. What's going to be the message to the team before you take the ice this weekend?
Well, Coach Mandigo's motto is always, throw us right into the fire at the start of the season. It'll be our first game. So we just want to go out and get the nerves out and, try our best. And hopefully we come together as a group. But mostly for the freshmen, I mean, we're a really young group. We have 8 freshmen on our team. And we just want them to, not be too nervous, but have a good time and, stay focused. And hopefully it turns out well.
Game 1 mentioned it's against Elmira, and Elmira and Plattsburgh, even though they're not in your division, it almost feels like they are because you play them, on a regular basis, whether it be regular season or postseason. I know your first collegiate game was actually against the Soaring Eagles a couple of years ago. So tell me a little bit about expectations of playing against them at home to open the season.
Well, I don't know where expectations are, but I mean, we're excited. Like, they're definitely 2 teams that we hope to play during the season, and we make it a point to have those be our big games, and we're ready for it. And, it'll be great if for some reason we can get to the championship game this weekend, but at the same time, it's a learning experience, and regardless, it's 2 games you got to play, and hopefully they turn out well.
My guest is Middlebury junior forward and captain Anne-Marie Salino on the eve of another season for the Panthers. Anne-Marie taking you inside the dressing room. There is one notable change for this year's team versus some of the previous ones, which is you're coming off a year in which you did not go all the way for the first time in 4 seasons. How has it been like getting ready for the new season?
Well, obviously we had a loss losing the class of 2007, but we're all ready to come back, and we're looking forward to the new season, and hopefully it'll turn out well.
Yeah, you referenced that senior class, and certainly look at the scoring charts, and they were kind of nestled in there around you up there at the top. So tell me what it's going to be like. No more Abby Kurtz-Phelan, no more Shannon Sylvester, Shannon Tarrant. When you take those players out of the lineup, what do you lose? What's the hardest thing to replace?
Well, for me at least, I mean, they were all players that I looked up to and tried to model myself after. So we're losing a lot of scoring power, obviously, but the freshmen that we have coming in are really great, and hopefully returning classmates will step up.
You've added the C to your jersey this year now that you're an upperclassman. You do have some help in that regard. There's actually 3 of you who kind of share the formal leadership responsibility, but tell me a little bit about what kind of captain Anne-Marie Salino tries to be.
I'm not really the rah-rah type, as my teammates will say, but I just like to do things right on the ice, and hopefully others will follow.
You're also a player who came in and made an immediate impact from day one. You've already picked up 81 points in your first 2 years on campus. So, now that you're a junior, you got the feel for this Division III hockey thing. What are some of the things you've been trying to fine-tune about your own game as you get ready for this year?
Well, this year will be different. Last year I was basically playing defense, so hopefully I can get back in the swing of things playing forward. But mostly I would have to say shooting the puck more. Usually I like to look to pass, but you know, if you don't have Abby Kurtz-Phelan or Shannon Sylvester, someone's got to pick up on the scoring, so hopefully I can do that this year.
You're looking back at last year's team, I think another question mark going into the season at least was, what was Middlebury going to do in goal? They'd relied on Kate Kogert for so long, and Lanny Wright really kind of stepped up right away from the very first game, which we did, even though it was a loss against Plattsburgh, played brilliant in that game. Talk a little bit about sort of now having a little bit more stability at that position.
Yeah, definitely. Lonnie did a great job last year, but I mean, she was also a freshman, and it was a new experience. But she trained really hard this summer, and I think she's going to be one of the best goaltenders you have in the league. And we're really excited that she's back with us this year.
Talking with Anne-Marie Salino of Middlebury. Going to shift gears on you a bit and go to a bit of personal background. You hail from West Seneca, New York, and every player we bring on the show has hockey origin story. So rewind the clock for me. How did you first get mixed up in the sport?
Well, I'm from a big family. I have 5 siblings, so I always would follow my brother to his hockey games, and basically just fell into the sport. All my siblings played at one point, and just my sister and I are left still playing, so basically it.
It came time for you to look at going to college. I'm sure you had quite a decision on your hands. I know you're probably one of those players that could have opted for a Division I option if you wanted to. You went with Middlebury instead. So take me a little bit through the process, some of the things you look for. What was it about sort of the Panther program or Middlebury, the school, that convinced you that that's where you wanted to go?
We'll see what happens.
That's a tough question, but I looked at a couple Division I and Division III schools. I wasn't really definite on either one, but when it came to Middlebury, I just enjoyed my stay. I really liked Coach Mandigo, and the campus is beautiful if you've ever been. So, I mean, it was a good right fit for me academically and athletically.
In your first 2 years, you've certainly seen it all when it comes to Division III hockey. I mentioned the last year you finished as a national runner-up. The year before you came in, won a national championship right out of the gate. Tell me a little bit about what it's like playing as part of a Middlebury program, a program which has that kind of tradition year in, year out.
I mean, the expectations are so high with the tradition that we have. It was tough last year not winning it, but I mean, just the fact that you can come back the following season and hopefully have a run at any title, whether it be a NESCAC title or a national championship.
Now that you're upperclassmen, you're not quite at that senior year where everyone's going to start asking questions about your future, but notice your major is American Studies, so I'm going to make you look ahead, at least for a little bit here. Whether it's inside the game of hockey, whether it's totally away from the sport, what are some of the things that Anne-Marie Salino might be up to down the road?
Next.
Back to live action off the draw. Julie Devereaux just lobs it back in. Devereaux down the wall. Interesting to see. You haven't seen Plattsburgh really in desperation mode at any point this weekend. And it will be interesting to see how many chances do they like to take. What do they do when they're down by a couple of goals and have to take some risks offensively? They certainly have a lot of players who can make plays. And we talk a lot about the skills of Danielle Blanchard. This is not just a Danielle Blanchard-led team, although she's out there. You talk about Bowler, Brown, Devereaux. Bywater, Ellis. There's a lot of options offensively. A lot of players back from a year ago who put up points in big games. So it's going to be interesting to see who rises to the occasion here as Plattsburgh looks for its offense in the first 90 seconds of the third. But Middlebury has the puck in the offensive zone, and Nakamura backhanding it in front, taken away by Moberg. Lobbed up through center. Nakamura has some space, and she has a good wealth of speed, but tipped away by Cara Bueller. Julia Ireland, who authored the second Middlebury goal, heads to the front. Plattsburgh takes away. Blanchard's been out there for a while. And we'll see when they look to get her to the bench. She can't leave just yet with the puck in the defensive zone. Comes down to help her blue liners. As Nakamura looks to make a play to the front. That's denied by Bueller. Nakamura trying to split two. Throws it in on Beatty, who easily guides it to the far wall. Kristen Wilson down behind the net. Julia Ireland trying to one-touch it in front to Nakamura. Stolen by Blanchard. Blanchard just swats it ahead, and now she will try to get to the bench and so will Middlebury with 2:20 gone by in the third period. Lob down out to center. Sent back in by the Panthers, where Devereaux will take over. On back to the neutral zone, Tanya Kenny, shots on goal, very modest still, 13-12 in favor of Middlebury. Panthers with the only two, but neither of them high quality in this third period. McNally trying to change that, feeding Salino. Right back McNally, here comes space for McNally, tucks it to the center. She's ridden off by McDougal nicely at the last possible second. Fired to the front, Salino touches it in front to McNally, who whips it just wide, as those two continue to read each other very well. Anna McNally, a heady freshman, good on-ice awareness beyond her years, and we know what Salino can do with now 85 career points. Middlebury again, very close to too many men. They've been there a couple times tonight, but haven't been whistled just yet. Tipping through center. Moon trying to get onto it, as was Molly Vitt. Steal is made by Brittany Mead. Mead bumped to the ice. Penalty coming up on Tanya Kenny. Kenny's been in the box a few times this weekend, and she'll sit again here. 16:25 to go in the third. Plattsburgh, another power play. And the Cardinals so far have come up empty, but you sensed in the last sequence is starting to find their rhythm just a little bit. So we'll see if they can parlay that momentum into an actual score here. Blanchard far side. Draws hacked forward by Nakamura. Moberg deals it to the far corner. Taken there by Levin, fired up the center, shut down by Moberg, tipped on ahead. Salino was lurking short-handed, but that pass a little too hot even for her to handle. So she'll get to it down deep below the Plattsburgh end line. Finally dispossessed by Moberg in the neutral zone, fired right back in by Karen Levin. Moberg, a lead pass, Bywater. Shea Bywater, left wing side. Ellis driving, trying to go to the trailer, Blanchard. Blanchard in the high slot. Ladles it back to Devereaux. Swings now to Steph Moberg. Wrist shot, deflection, kick save, rebound, score! Danielle Blanchard again. Her third goal of the weekend. And Plattsburgh cuts the lead at half. It's 2-1. Bang, bang play, and just with the doctor order for the defending national champs. Set up by a good offering by Moberg. Kept the shot low, eminently deflectable. And Lexi Bloom did a great job on that first shot. You saw it take a nice little 20 to 30 degree turn. And Bloom kind of stuck the right leg out behind her to make the initial save. But Blanchard picked up the follow. And as she was diving and being harassed from behind, hammered it home for her 11th already on the season. So it should be unofficially Blanchard with the tally. Moberg will get one assist. Not sure who had gone to the front. It was either Ellis or Bywater. They're usually out there on the power play. We'll see who gets the official credit for that initial tip. But it's 2-1 Middlebury, and the battle's been joined here with 15:29 to play in the third. Bowler right back to the attack. Plattsburgh will see what that does just for their overall energy level. So it was Bywater who got the tip in front off the Moberg offering, and Blanchard with the follow-up to get the goal. Blanchard scored all three of her team's goals this weekend. Here's a chance, Lindsey Brown down low, side of the net, looking to make a play in front. O'Connor jamming at it. No shot ever reached Lexi Bloom, who kept the near post sealed, and Levin is sailing through center. Right wing side, Ashley Barrows. Barrows trying to drag her way through Ainsley Bryant. Bryant did a nice job defensively this weekend, holds her ground and stands up, the sophomore for the Panthers. So we've seen a great play from Anne-Marie Salino to trigger the first shorthanded goal for Middlebury. We now see Blanchard making her impact on the score sheet as Plattsburgh, guilty of icing here. And so the two stars have checked in the scoring department. Julia Ireland's goal off an errant breakout attempt is the difference right now. 2-1 Middlebury, 14:30 to go in the third. Salino wins the draw back. McNally turns a wrist shot toward goal. Where's the puck? It's in the far corner. Cara Bueller hammers it hard around. Tara Khan picks up, feeding Megan DiGiulio. Dumont trying to hold. Puck flutters in the air. Not out of the zone just yet. Now Khan diagonals forward, intended for Amber Ellis. Taken back by Jess Bennett instead for the Panthers. And 26 in white pushes deep to the zone. Might have helped Ellis to the ice as well in the aftermath. Dumont trying to tip it free. Sent back the other way, and Kayla McDougal speeding after it down the ice. McDougal catches up at the half circle, slams on the brakes, waits for reinforcements, feeds DiGiulio, trying to walk it to the front. McDougal's follow, stopped by a sliding Randy Dumont. And down below the end line, to a side, they scrap. Goosed free by Kenny. First touch, though, comes to Ellis. She leaves for McDougal. Ellis goes down. Taken now by DiGiulio. Megan DiGiulio protecting, feeding now to Kayla McDougal. McDougal spinning underneath Kenny. Kenny goes down. McDougal walks to the front, trying to jam it home short side. Bloom comes up with the stop. Tara Khan comes down from the blue line, fires away from an angle. That didn't go through. There were about 3 players between her and Lexi Bloom, and not much to work with anyway, as McNally will chip it off the wall and head off on a change. 13-19 to go in the third. Middlebury 2 and Plattsburgh 1. McNally and Ireland for the Panthers. Danielle Blanchard on the power play for the Plattsburgh Cardinals. Neutral zone play here. On the right wing side, Steph Moon finally catches up. Moon over the Middlebury line. The trailer is Mead. Backhand centering feed, parried away by Lexi Bloom. And Margie Billings will start ahead. Billings through center. Bodied off as she got the dump in. Around far side, Devereaux now. Devereaux snaps it back to the near wall. Mead on the tip, got it to the red line. Fielded there by Margaret McDonald. Senior captain and blue liner pokes it on ahead, goes through Nakamura, sticking down. She was over the red line, though, so no icing. And now it's Kate Fairfield on the near side. Her options are Bywater and Blanchard ahead. That's denied for the moment, and Beatty will have to guide it aside for Devereaux at the side. Devereaux scaling high off the glass to center. Far side, Molly Vitt trying to harass Bywater, and the puck pops off a stick, goes high in the air and into the penalty box. 12:06 on the third period clock. Face off in the neutral zone. Levin will take it opposite Blanchard. Blanchard wins another one back. Sent on ahead and down. And as we get the whistle, we'll bring it back to the right of Danielle Beatty with 11:59 to play in the third of this Panther Cardinal Classic Championship game. Middlebury trying to hang on and stop the 34-game unbeaten streak and ascend to the top of the national poll. Far side, held by Levin, tees it up, let's fly, got the tip, but it went the wrong way, and here's Blanchard triggering forward. Blanchard accelerating to attack speed, lays it across for Bywater, back for Blanchard, on the backhand, she scores! Danielle Blanchard to Bywater, back to Blanchard, and the superstar junior does it again for Plattsburgh. We're tied at 2. Now, we might have said something about the third period being the time when the chips are down, the rubber meets. Yeah, Danielle Blanchard always rises to that occasion. And 14 in red, again, her 4th goal of the tournament. Plattsburgh does not have another player who has put one home. And Blanchard gets a big hug from behind from Bywater. And give credit to Bywater, too. Made herself available. Blanchard laid it across, and Bywater had the good feel to put it back where only Blanchard could get it. And Blanchard again, as she was being taken out from behind, this time going to the backhand, and went past Bloom for Blanchard, her 12th of the season, averaging 2 goals per game early on in her junior contest. And we're all tied at 2. So, like hundreds of times before in the history of hockey, 2-goal leads wind up being sucker leads, and Plattsburgh comes back to equalize things at 2 apiece, and another classic develops in this Panther Cardinal Classic between these two as we come down the stretch here. Anne-Marie Salino in the high slot, stolen away, and you can hear the Plattsburgh side is energized right now as Claire O'Connor puts it deep to the corner. They'll be looking for Salino and McNally. Those have been the go-to pair offensively. They've been quiet since their big play on the shorthand early in the first. Blanchard has taken over the game here in the third. And Plattsburgh has the momentum, and they're back even at 2 apiece. Up top it goes. Bueller lets fly, goes to the back wall, untouched. Plattsburgh, you can see the extra jump right now in the national champion step. Up it goes Devereaux, feeding back near side wall. DiGiulio, blind centering pass, got it back, fired in front. Six save by Bloom, pushed on ahead. Space available for Nakamura as she hurries. Nakamura on left wing has speed, a wrist shot, and Beatty A quick glove save, looking confident as she snatched that one out of the air and holds on for the draw. So Blanchard with 2 goals here in the third, 1 on the power play, following up a Bywater deflection. And then the more conventional on the backhand off not an odd man rush, but kind of a transition play as Blanchard led the counterattack, served Bywater on the right wing side and got the return pass and notched her 12th of the season on the backhand to tie it at 2. She's right back out there right now. And Bywater is handling down low to Blanchard. Blanchard on the backhand, rolls it to the front, poke check by Bloom. On the follow, it flutters back toward the crease area, but never went to the net. Down low, it's taken by Nora Bergman. Blanchard shadowing 1 step behind. Bergman reverses it quickly to Buono. Bywater swarming on the forecheck. And Ireland lobs on ahead. A long diagonal pass. Can Nakamura beat the icing and cancel it? Yes, she can. Shara Smith bumps her off from behind as Middlebury was changing. It's laid across for Bowler. Lori Bowler, 22 goals a year ago. Motors down the right wing side. Bowler trying to step underneath, but it rolled ahead of her just enough that Lexi Bloom was able to come out and get the cover in time. Face-off will be to the left of Bloom. Off the draw, it's Bennett sweeping it around near side. Barros lost control of the puck, taken back by Kenny. Kenny up to the point. Ainsley Bryant pops it in the air, glove down, and away goes Barros through center. Barros over the red line, lobs in deep, and will give chase along with Molly Vitt. Ainsley Bryant gets the first touch in the near corner. Lobbed up and out. Back to get it, Kenny. Floats a pass far side, hoping for Vitt. With 8:50 to go in the third, the game tied at 2. Through center, O'Connor. On a dangle by. That was knocked away by the skates of Kenny. On the far side, they contest for it. Kenny back on it. Wheels behind the net. Comes out the near side. Kenny moving through center. Excuse me, that was Barros who got the dump in. Middlebury wholesale changes here. Ainsley Bryant back below her own end line. Now DiGiulio. DiGiulio calmly through the neutral zone. Gains the line on left wing. Flops it in toward Lexi Bloom. Bloom has been solid, but Blanchard has been better in this third period, and we're tied at 2 apiece. Devereaux far side. Has some trouble with Salino. There's the steal, trying to get Salino free, and she'll charge after it in the offensive half as Bueller takes over. McNally there as well on the shadow in this 2-3 system. Steal. Salino between the circles. Wrist shot. Glove save. Beatty, and she holds on. There was Salino trying to reassert control of the contest, forcing the turnover and taking matters into her own hands. But Beatty, alert with the trapper one more time, keeps it tied at 2. Off the draw. Middlebury got the first touch, courtesy of Margie Billings, but now taken back by Steph Moberg. Blanchard's right back out there. A little extra time for her. Blanchard collides along the red line with Margaret McDonald. Billings turns it back to the red line. Stolen. Here's Blanchard. Trying to go cross ice. That was stolen away by McDonald. Transition time for Nakamura. Trying to spring Julia Ireland. That was broken up. Blanchard gets back defensively. She seems like she's everywhere right now. Making herself available now on the breakout, but it's Moberg who will take the lead pass on left wing. Moberg over the line, hits the circle, blasts away, and that's blocked by the skates of Billings. Moberg catches up in front. Blanchard was all alone and whiffed on the one-time attempt. Now she gets another chance on the deflection and comes up empty again. Blanchard back behind the net, meets Margie Billings against the wall. Molly West and Moberg cancel as well. Puck rolls free. Smith, nice swing. Ainsley Bryan has a lane to shoot. Fires away. It's closed off nicely by Billings, and the puck is forced back to center ice. Bryan comes over to pick up. Swings over to Shara Smith. Quick change for the Panthers. Bowler joins the party on right wing for the Cardinals. Lori Bowler sweeping down low. Works her way behind the net. Nobody home on the centering pass. Stolen by Nakamura with 6:45 to go in the third. She sets sail through center, sending it deep on left wing. Near side it comes on the lead pass, just out of the reach of Claire O'Connor. And it's Bergman sending near side to Tanya Kenny. Kenny back Bergman. Bergman on the bump, feeding Barros. Barros on ahead, intended for Molly Vitt. Beatty's got to play it, so no icing here. Bryan and Vitt get together down low. Poked on free to Bywater on the far side. Brown is moving ahead, trying to make herself available. Levin shadowing the passing lane. And O'Connor along the red line will simply play dump and chase hockey from there. Down behind the net, Karen Levin. The long head man pass to Molly Vitt, who's been on for a while here. Stymied along the Middlebury bench area. McDougal trying to force it free, as is Ellis, but the puck tied up for a rare whistle here in the third. 5:49 to go in the period. Tied at 2 as Plattsburgh's rally from a 2-0 deficit here in the final frame. Danielle Blanchard's 11th and 12th of the season have equalized things for the defending national champs. Off the draw, sent back into the zone. Up right wing now, McNally. Salino drawing a lot of attention from Devereaux along the blue line. The pass went through her stick. Bueller wrapping it down behind the net. Devereaux floats it on through to Megan DiGiulio. Salino right behind. Billings trying to hold the line. Salino's loose in the slot. Wrist shot. Pinballs off Bueller's legs and goes just wide. McNally trying to track it against the back wall. She's got 2 red shirts around her, and it's dug free by DiGiulio. Lead pass tipped forward by Ellis. Gathered by Margaret McDonald. Her diagonal too far for the intended receiver. Devereaux forces it back the other way. No icing here. We play on with just over 5 to go in the third period. Lead pass Salino trying to tip it on through for Nakamura just off the bench. As both coaches going with their horses here. Blanchard right back to the attack. Backhand pass. In walks Moberg. Wrist shot. Kick save Bloom. Rebound is loose. They score! Danielle Blanchard out of midair logs the hat trick, and Plattsburgh, its first lead, is 3-2. Well, Blanchard did it on the forehand. She did it on the backhand, and so this time she's trying to do it vertical with the puck in the air, hand-eye coordination, and comes up with a home run from point-blank range as she's able to tip it past off of Moberg's offering. And Danielle Blanchard, a third-period hat trick, a natural hat trick, and brings Plattsburgh all the way back. It is 3-2 Cardinals with now 4:54 to play in the third period. Just an incredible performance by one of the nation's best players. 5 goals on the weekend. And here with her team down 2-0, having not lost in 34 games, playing on the road to the number 2 ranked team. Danielle Blanchard scores 3 goals in succession in the third period. Plattsburgh's not out of the woods just yet. This is still Middlebury, and this is still 4:24 to go as Nakamura comes over the line and blasts away. Beatty with the catch. And she'll hold for the draw. But just an incredible performance here in the third period by Blanchard, staking her claim to being the nation's best player. And so Blanchard on the power play once with the forehand, on the rush once, give and go with Shea Bywater on the backhand, and right there, bats one home out of midair off of Steph Moberg's initial offering to stake Plattsburgh to a 3-2 lead. Here's Dumont. Dumont walking to the front on the backhand. Shot was blocked by Blanchard, doing it at the defensive end. And now she's lurking up the ice if they can get it to her. Moberg trying to thread it. Blanchard stays on side. Back for Moberg. Moberg far side. Picks up there on the backhand. Banks it down low to Bywater. Blanchard heads for the front. 3:45 to go in the third period. Blanchard fishing for it behind the net. Protecting against Margaret McDonald. There's no one available, so she's just going to throw it back to her own end. Devereaux is going to have to come back to pick it up. Salino is lurking one step behind the Plattsburgh captain. Dumont holds the blue stripe. Lead pass comes the other way. McDougal will chase after it along with Tanya Kenny. McDougal gets it through. DiGiulio snaps it wide as she was off balance. Ellis starts the cycle below the end line with 3:10 to go in the third, and Plattsburgh has rallied from a 2-0 deficit to hold a 3-2 lead. Danielle Blanchard with all 5 goals this weekend for the defending national champs. Salino, who's been brilliant in her own right, 2 goals and 2 assists this weekend, carries forward through center. Trying to slide it near side for Barros. That pass off the mark. Gathered now by DiGiulio. DiGiulio walks through one defender. Wrist shot, and Bloom right there on the near post makes the save up high. Face-off will be to the right of Bloom with 2:47 to go in the third. And the Blanchard hat-trick having rallied Plattsburgh from behind. They have a 3-2 lead, trying to extend that unbeaten streak to 35 consecutive here in the championship game of the Panther-Cardinal Classic. Through center, Julia Ireland. Her goal gave Middlebury a 2-0 lead at the time. Lead pass Bowler. Big collision. We have not seen many penalties at all here in this third period. And that was kind of a canceled contact as Bergman, and Bowler got together. Lindsey Brown tips it out of the zone at center ice. Andrea Bono goes cross ice now to McDonald. McDonald triggering forward, ladles it into the corner and gives chase as her team changes behind her. Far side, it's wrapped free. Shara Smith ridden down by McDonald, stolen by Anna McNally. Salino heads toward the crease area. A lot of red shirts there, though. And Kara Bueller takes it away, scaling it high off the glass and out to center. Back to get it goes Tanya Kenny. Kenny on the snap. Look out. Here comes Salino cheating. Salino, big drive. Shoulders saved by Beattie. And it hits the back of the glass and drops in play. Salino trying to steal an offensive chance for herself. Beattie up to the challenge. McNally to the front. Turning shot by Dumont. Caught the side of the cage with 1:40 to go in the third. When will Bill Manigo look to get Lexi Bloom to the bench for an extra attacker? Kenny, far side. McDonald slides on ahead. Salino's been out there for a while. Probably want to get her a quick breather or a timeout if you can before the home stretch. And now she heads off quickly. Molly Vitt just on. Takes over. Fires it down. That's not a good play. And icing on Vitt. She had not quite gained the red line, so we'll get a stoppage, and Bill Manigo will have an opportunity to expend his timeout here with 1:20 on the clock, but the draw is going to be back in his own end, so they're going to have to advance the puck first before they can look to get Lexi Bloom off. Well, the last 2 years that we've covered games involving Plattsburgh, Danielle Blanchard has put on a show. We talked a little bit yesterday about the spectacular goal that she scored yesterday, or last year, against Middlebury, where she beat two defenders and went to the backhand in a goal that gave Plattsburgh some insurance, and they never looked back from that. And then we also talked about her efforts yesterday in scoring both goals in a game where Williams put up a better fight that perhaps Plattsburgh was looking for, and Blanchard had to dig them out of that one. And then here today, down in a 2-0 hole, comes out in the third period, scores a power play goal on the forehand, give and go with Bywater on the backhand, and then the acrobatic tip out of midair to give Plattsburgh a 3-2 lead. And for Danielle Blanchard, now already with a huge start to the season, now 13 goals on the season in just 6 contests. You know, she's always been good for 20 goals a year, 21 and 24 in her first 2 seasons. But this is a whole nother level for her in the finishing department, already with 13 in 6 thus far, to go along with 4 assists as well. But again, it's the quality of player, and you see the mettle of a player when their backs are against the wall. She just will not let her team lose right now, and still has 1:20 to go, and looks like she's probably going to go the distance here if she can. 1:20 left on the third period clock, but Middlebury wins the draw. That's step one. Can they advance the puck and get it cleanly into the zone? They cannot for the moment. McNally, though, takes over, rolls it over the red line. Bloom is cheating out, but she can't get to the bench just yet with Plattsburgh handling the puck. Left wing side, Moberg. Final minute of play here in the third. Plattsburgh 3, Middlebury 2, Panther Cardinal Classic coming down to the wire. Near side, McNally. McNally, rink-wide feed. Creates space, Nakamura. Salino driving the center. Nakamura, wrist shot, save is made. Rebound is left. Tantalizing. Bloom is off. 6 skaters on. And the swarm is on down low as McNally barrels after it. Bryan on the bank. Not enough steam on that. Levin holds the line. Swings it far side. Kenny. Kenny, wrist shot, tips off a defenseman and goes wide. Vitt trying to backhand it in front. That was denied by Bryan, and Bryan now has a lane to advance the puck. Bryan through center, banks it forward, but wants a quick change. 25 seconds, all that remains between Plattsburgh and a 35th game without a defeat. And actually a good break here for Middlebury, as Ainsley Bryan had not gained the red line apparently, so they're going to give this an icing call on Plattsburgh, and an offensive zone draw coming up for Middlebury with 22.7 on the clock. Dumont will take the draw. Salino is in front of the net. Puck pops forward. Salino reaching for it on the backhand, was spun off her feet by Bowler. 17 seconds to go. hacked up the wall. Brown chopping at it. She's able to get it out and down. This should be another icing call. We'll bring the draw right back by Danielle Beatty with 9.8 on the clock. Every Middlebury player has gone to the front except Kenny. Dumont wins the draw forward with 8 seconds, taken by Claire O'Connor. O'Connor on the backhand, wins it out of the zone. As the puck rolls all the way down, is the clock going to run out? It is. Plattsburgh comes from behind. Danielle Blanchard, a natural hat trick in the third period, rescues the defending national champions from potentially their first defeat in over the year. And number one stays atop the national rankings for at least one more week, as Blanchard's heroics brings Plattsburgh back for a 3-2 victory in the title game of the Panther Cardinal Classic. Another tremendous game between these two teams, living up to their billing as the top two teams in the country. Middlebury certainly serving notice they're not going anywhere, despite the senior class that they lost from a year ago. And Plattsburgh serving notice that they still have the champions' toughness, even though they were stretched to the limit by the Middlebury team that had them in a 2-goal hole after 40 minutes of play. But it's Danielle Blanchard, just too much on this night. 2 goals yesterday, 3 goals today. There is your most valuable player of this tournament by far. And Plattsburgh, they stay perfect at 7-0. Middlebury drops to 1-1, but both these teams will be heard from down the road. That's going to just about do it for our coverage here of this Panther Cardinal Classic. It's been a great weekend of Division III hockey. Hope you enjoyed it here